We're taking the church out of the walls. We're going to meet in the high school. We're going to meet in the movie theater. We're going to meet wherever we can to bring the church to people.
This is the Church Growth Nation podcast.
What's up, everybody? This is Ross Turner, and this is the Church Growth Nation episode number, I don't know. And we're talking to Matt Perry from Eastlake Church outside of San Diego. What's up, Matt?
What's up, Ross? How's it going?
You look like you're in an urban loft downtown New York City or something.
I know, that's what it felt like. I'm in the suburbs of San Diego, though.
Yeah. So, everybody listen up. Matt is in what a lot of people are. He's in planning phase, in pre-launch phase, and I'm prepping my heart and my life and my family to plant a church phase. And we talk with a lot of pastors who are 6 years into it or 2 years into it, and their church is successful. I've found that a ton of people who plant a church, they start in ministry serving as a worship leader or serving as a youth director or something like that. And they kind of learn the DNA, the culture of the church. And then maybe they know from the get-go that God has church planting, on their heart and is in their future, but they're prepping themselves right now. And if I understand right, that's kind of where you're at right now. Is that right, Matt?
Yeah, a big season of prepping. And it gets hard sometimes, right? Nobody looks forward usually to the prepping part. There's great joys in it sometimes, but yeah, we're in the prepping. I'm 27 right now. I knew since I was 18 that God kind of put that calling, that passion in my heart to plant a church, because I know if everybody in America, or of course in the world, but in America, tried to fit into church on Sunday, they would not be able to fit in church. And so I'm passionate about planting, and God was just like, cool, if you're passionate about it, then you can wait.
I've found that a lot of people who have churches that are really on the cutting edge, and they're reaching the next generation. A lot of times they start in youth ministry, and they already get that DNA and that culture. Do you think that when you shift from being in youth ministry to planting and leading your own church, that you're going to reject and kind of totally do ministry a new way from what you've got in youth ministry now? Or are you going to take a lot of that culture and have that be a part of your church?
Oh man, take the culture. Because as I grow up and I get to the place that God releases us and said, go and plant, I know my students are growing, and those are going to be people that can be on the core team. Those are going to be people who followed the leadership and are like, let's go do this now in a different context. And so, yeah, it's taking a lot from it, studying Generation Z, how they think, how they feel, how they act. Because I know once I plant and I'm a lead pastor, it's going to be a lot of people from Gen Z that we're trying to reach to walk into our doors.
Okay, but tell me for real though, what do we do as church leaders, as people who are trying to reach that generation now? What is working? What should we be doing different?
Yeah, what is working for us in our context, and I think can work in almost any other context, is not being afraid to bring the church out of the walls. And so what we've seen, even just in our student ministry, is we launched a year ago this club that we take into public high schools called the Ox Club. And don't call it a Christian club, because I don't want to just reach the Christians in the school. And so we call it Ox. We have free pizza. We throw this big party on campus. And over the last year, we reached between 400 and 500 middle school and high schoolers a week in their public schools. So what we have found is not staying in our walls, doing things different, going out into the community. And I think in church planning, it's a very similar model of we're taking the church out of the walls. We're going to meet in the high school. We're going to meet in the movie theater. We're going to meet wherever we can to bring the church to people.
So are you saying that you think a contemporary, church plant that's 2 years old and they're trying to reach people that are millennials and the next generation, everything like that, are you saying that it's better to be portable than it is to have your own building?
I think there's pros and cons to both. And my mentors and pastors who are still portable after 8 or 9 years, they're dying for a building, right? I'm not saying it's better to be portable in different seasons. I think there is different needs. I've had friends who've been portable for 16 years before they found a building. But I think you can reach different people being portable. I remember 5 years ago, I was at this church in Riverside called Relevant Church, and we would meet in a movie theater, and we were reaching way different people in the movie theater than when we moved buildings again. I think wherever you you can reach different demographics. The easiest way for me to get people to church, because we were trying to reach all the unchurched people in Riverside, was, hey, we meet at the movie theater. If you don't like church, just walk to the next door and watch the movie. And so it was this cool feel though for people. They felt less intimidated because they were more de-churched. They were hurt from previous churches, and they were nervous about walking into a church building. And so it lightened them up a little bit to be more aware, to listen, to be more vulnerable, I guess, in that area, to walk into a movie theater and hear the music and the message in the community, rather than walking into a church building.
How big of a deal is social media, art, design, contemporary videos? How big of a deal is that in your youth ministry?
Oh man, it's huge. It's huge. I remember the studies back when, a few years ago, right? And they would say, if your church is not on Facebook, you're not in one of the biggest mission fields, right? It would have been the second largest country. If it was a country, Facebook world. And so if you're not on there and you're not proactive, you're missing this huge mission field. And I think now, fast forward a few years, we can see like online and social is not just a place to post announcements. This is a mission field for people to know Jesus, to hear the gospel, and to get plugged into a healthy church. So I think social media, it's not everything, but it's a huge, huge thing that we put a lot into.
Yeah. Tell me, being a youth leader for however many years it's been, how is that going to translate over to being a lead pastor? Are there things that you feel that you understand the culture of church, or you look at the money differently, or you put a greater emphasis on different generations? What is going to affect you as a lead pastor that you wouldn't have had if you weren't a youth leader to begin with?
Yeah, youth is funny, but I think some of the big things that are transferable that I've seen, consistency in people's life is huge. With students, that's a huge thing. When you're at their game and they look into the crowd and they don't see their parents, but they see their youth pastor or their youth leader or their small group leader. And what that has taught me is not just in youth, but people want consistency in their life. They want consistent relationships. They want a consistent group to go to. And it's hard in our world, right, where everything is scheduled and we have millions of things on our calendar. This is not just for pastors, but now everybody has millions of things on their calendar. And so what I've kind of learned, a big thing is consistency, even if it's a consistent text. And as a youth pastor, as a youth leader, you're not just leading youth, you're leading your volunteer teams. You're leading their small group leaders as they're leading leaders. So you're really building this culture of leading leaders. Our mission statement at Eastlake Church is people helping people find and follow Jesus. And we added that in for that leadership structure. Yeah. But there's so many transferable things. It's the consistency. It's learning how to lead the teams, leading adults and helping them lead students have been big things.